One second. Can everybody hear me now? Can you hear me now, Justin? All right. Well,
I
that
can.
was sound technology at its finest. My Bluetooth decided to jump to my phone. That is the first time it's happened in all of our sessions here. But welcome to our latest Real Talk with Metro Texas Association of Realtors, and of course, one of our esteemed members, Justin Holland. Justin, you are not only just a fantastic realtor, practitioner, broker, owner, but you are also one of our local state representatives. So thank you for taking the time tonight to talk to all of us.
Well, thank you. Actually, I'm really excited about our time tonight, and I think this is going to be fun to get to interact with some local realtors.
Fantastic. Well, we already have Nancy Garcia saying hello, Justin. So we've already got our esteemed Texas Realtors Tree Pack chairman, or chairwoman, I should say, on the call with us tonight as well. But Justin, you have a race coming up, and we're going to talk a little bit more what that is going to look like. But first, let's make sure our audience knows who you are. So I talked about the fact that you are in the real estate business. What does that look like? What's your company name?
Sure. I am a co-owner of Regal REALTORS in Rockwall, Texas. I'm actually a second generation broker owner. I have been in the real estate business for 15 years, just celebrated 15 years this last year. And I'm in my 9th year of ownership with my business partner, Leighton Pinkham. And we are just experiencing the wonderful growth of the market and the DFW area. And my dad, Lance Holland, was a broker and started our company in 1991. So we celebrated our 30th anniversary and birthday for Regal last year, and got to get in quite a few celebrations for that.
That's amazing. So, little tidbit, Justin and I actually went to high school together.
Yes.
He's a little grayer than I am, just a couple years older. So I'm going to throw that out there. But, we moved to Rockwall in 1996, Justin, from Southern New Jersey. And I remember not even being in middle school yet. And that Regal building was like a landmark in Rockwall, that
Yes.
kind of neat historical colonial architecture. And it's still there today. You guys are in that same building, correct?
That's actually where I'm sitting right now. I'm in my real estate office in Rockwall, and yeah, so Dad built this building in 1995, and the neighborhood that's right next to us is where I lived for most of my childhood growing up. And I have a picture from one year we put on our Christmas card. I guess it would have been 1995, and you can see the Lake Point Church in the distance where there was nothing behind the Regal building. Everybody asked my dad, why did you build that all the way out there? Why wouldn't you build in town? And now, of course, if you drive through Rockwall, this is town. Yeah. So
the hub of where Heath and Rockwall proper intersect. And I think that's awesome. I was just there the other day, and obviously visiting you for coffee, and was just sitting here going, right. Oh my gosh. I remember when there was just the Arby's, the American National Bank building. Walmart was where Hobby Lobby is. And when I talked to people, yes, Movies 8, and you went to TCBY next door. So
that's right.
I mean, it's just amazing. Obviously, both of us now being realtors and showing in different communities, I think it's awesome to see all the growth we have here in North Texas. It's also fun to reminisce of what it once was, but I think the growth is an exciting thing. And you obviously taking the charge now and being one of our amazing state representatives in House District 33. How many years have you been doing that?
Actually, I ran for the House in the 16 election and have served 3 terms. So this is, I guess, my 6th year. So at the end of this year, it'll be 6 full years, 3 full terms. I'm in the last year of my 3rd term, seeking a 4th term. I've served 3 regular sessions and 4 special sessions. And so spent quite a bit of time in Austin. I slept in a hotel room in Austin over 200 nights last year. as we had our regular and special sessions that seemed like they were going to go all the way to Christmas.
You guys were busy last year, and we're not going to talk about that right now. But we've got Nikki Watson on here with us, says loves being in the community. She is actually, I think, a new Rockwall County resident, Justin.
Awesome.
She is a Metro Tex affiliate member and owns I think she actually owns the most successful staging business in the state of Texas. And she was actually my first guest in January. So you've got some really cool people in Rockwall. So Nikki, I need to introduce the two of you. She said, I still have Justin's business card on a poker chip. So
yes.
what is that story?
Well, I came across at a golf tournament somebody that handed out a poker chip as a golf ball marker that had their logo and business card on either side of it. And so I had a bunch of them made, and that's what I hand out. I do have regular business cards, but at golf tournaments, or if you want to, people won't throw that away. And clearly Nikki hasn't thrown hers away.
No, that's fantastic. I love hearing that kind of stuff. So I also heard that you did something else kind of daring the 1st of January, and that's you trekked all the way to Disney World with your wonderful family. I think I'm going to need a little bit of tips and tricks on what that looks like, because my 8-year-old daughter is pounding me on that. So was it a successful trip, and do you have any tips for us?
It was very successful, and I think my wife may be watching right now while she's sitting in a dance parking lot waiting on our girls to get out. But so she may have better pointers than I. She planned the whole thing, but we did it right. We went all out, and I did that so that I didn't ever have to go back again. But I can give you all the pointers. I have them all written down. We did, I don't know why all the fives keep coming, but we did 5 days, 5 parks, 55 attractions, 35 miles walked. And it was truly a great experience. It really is magical. I've got 8 and 10, they're about to be 8 and 10 next month. So there's 7 and 9 little girls. And so it was very magical for them to see Magic Kingdom and get to ride the rides and experience that. And we got to share it with some great friends of ours that also had 2 girls. And I can definitely give you the what to do and what not to do.
What's your number one thing that you can at least share with me now? What expense that was absolutely worth it?
Well, there's two tips I have. One is however much you think it's going to be to go on that trip, double it. And then the next is you have to do the VIP experience. You have to save it's a trip you save for. And my wife and I certainly did. We wanted to, this is not something that we can do every year, but we did save for it. And we did 3 days of the VIP experience. And it's where they take you to the front of the lines. At some cases at Universal Studios, they took us in the exits and take you straight to the rides. You can re-ride rides right away if you want to. So if you just have the park passes and you have to wait in these 1.5 to 2.5 hour lines and maybe only get a few rides in, but the VIP experience puts you with somebody that is your tour guide for the whole time. They take you exactly where you need to go. You don't have to plan where you're headed or what you're doing. You just follow them and you get to ride a bunch of rides and experience it in a really good way. And you get to see some really disgruntled people who are standing in line wondering how you're getting to skip the lines. But it was fun. The kids loved it, and we loved seeing them do it. And now I don't have to go back to Disney again.
That is the key. One and done. So I would be remiss if I didn't try to make a correlation here for real estate. And in our current market, I don't care where you live right now in North Texas, there is no supply. So there's a lot of multiple offers out there. So if you don't hitch your wagon to a VIP agent,
That's
you're
right.
Be on that sideline waiting with 15 offers that don't get accepted, and you're going to be mean mugging the other people that use somebody from Regal Realtors or myself.
That's right. You need to have a professional agent that takes you around and takes you through the process and negotiates the contract on your behalf, or else you're going to be the one standing in line yelling and asking why everybody else is getting their deals done.
So right there, I think we should do it. That's the hashtag Magic Kingdom VIP experience. Maybe we'll put that on our new real estate marketing.
Sure.
So Sherry Fearbacher, who is also my mother, Justin, and my real estate
Hi,
business partner.
Sherry.
Yes.
Yes.
She said in 1996, we joked the I-30 expansion was overkill over Lake Ray Hubbard. And she's correct. And now here we are with this huge text dot expansion that is
Sure.
going to hopefully change the world of the little island of Rockwall. So
Yeah, we need that. There's going to be some pains
yes.
going through that process. Nobody. I sat on the city council in Heath for 5 years prior to going into the legislature, and one thing I noticed is that nobody ever thanks you when the roads are finished and you can drive on them and get across town really easily. But you do get lots of the complaints about the congestion and traffic. I tend to, having been through those processes, I complain a little less and just turn my podcast on.
Well, good. Next time you could just tune into a real talk when you have kind of
I
some of that
will.
draconian speech. But that's something that can kind of bring us into talking about you being not only a local member of your city council, but now going from there into state representative for House District 33. It's those things that are hard to think about in the short term because it is going to be a lot of pain. I have a lot of family and friends that still live in Rockwall, and I will tell you, I grimace sometimes when I have to go there. But part of that is that Rockwall has this draw. It has this amazing, unique nature of community, experiences. There's been really strategic growth, and so of course the need for better infrastructure is there, and it's important. Something else is, Rockwall and its adjacent cities right there in Rockwall County, you guys have really affordable tax rates. And when you're talking about people buying homes right now in this marketplace, tax rates are more important than I think they've ever been in the discussion of buying a home. So I think people have to balance that out a little bit, right? I mean, you got to go through the growth process, but it's great to live there.
You do, and I always give credit where credit's due. I'm a sixth generation Rockwall County resident. My kids are seventh. My family moved here in the late 1800s, 1896, and they were cotton farmers, and we've stayed here ever since. And the people our forefathers who put Rockwall together, from the time when the lake came in the late 60s and in the 60s. My mother was a child in Rockwall before, as the lake was being built. And, the way that Rockwall is today is because people planned for it to be that way. They didn't
Yes.
want us to be a little bait shack town. They wanted us to be, an elite community with high performing school systems and recreation and restaurants and good retail and access to all sorts of different services that we have, medical and restaurants and retail. This is all, it didn't happen by accident. It's happened because we've had generations of good leadership making good decisions for the county. I have great relationships with our local city and county officials now, but I think of the people that were running the city when I was growing up and when my parents were growing up. And the reason that we have that appeal, when you drive across that lake, you take a big sigh and you're home.
Yep.
And if you're crossing that lake when the sun's going down, it's even better. And if there's a sailboat regatta going on or any events down at the harbor, and it takes a load off your shoulders to come into Rockwall County and to be in the Rockwall and the Heath and Roy City and Fate, Clinton Chisholm communities. It's a special place to grow up. It's a special place to be able to do business. I'm kind of spoiled. I do business all over the place, but I get to work and live in Rockwall. Sometimes I don't have to cross that bridge, and I'm very proud of this community.
Well, I think that's true there. I mean, before you had to go into Mesquite, you had to go into different areas for restaurants, for movies, for entertainment, different things like that. And you guys have some phenomenal businesses, commercial, retail, different opportunities. So you can literally live eat, sleep, have fun, do everything you need to in Rockwall. And that's just amazing to see all of that positive growth. So going into now, you are just not a representative for Rockwall. There was some redistricting that was just done last year. That was part of your nightly stays in Austin that were lengthy. But you have some new areas that you'll be representing now in House District 33. So would love for you to kind of share with our audience here how that kind of has changed and who you are also representing now.
Sure. I should note that I'm seeking to represent the new area
Yes,
because
this is true.
that my fourth term would be for the new boundaries of HD 33. Currently, I have the areas on the outskirts of the eastern, northern, and kind of western portions of Collin County. My biggest city that I represent is Frisco, Collin County, and then Prosper and Salina have blown up, as well as the growth in Anna. And then great little town of Farmersville, and there's just so many great things going on in Collin County. It's just a very strange district the way that it was drawn. For those of you that don't know about the redistricting process, it happens every 10 years, and we just finished that process, got those bills passed, and they've been signed by the governor. So my new district that Ashley was talking about, it actually includes some communities that are a lot more similar to the Rockwall County community. The districts are around 190,000 people. You can have a 5% deviation above and below. So you can go as low as 185 and as high as 204 or 5. My new district's around 190, and hopefully I'll get to represent portions of Wiley, Murphy, Saxe, Plano, and Richardson. And it's geographically closer to Rockwall, and there's going to be big cities anywhere in all these districts in the Metroplex. So Plano and Richardson, they're big cities, and but the Saxe, Wiley, Murphy area of the new part of HD 33, the communities are so much closer to the makeup of a Rockwall, Heath, Fate, Roy City, McClendon, Chisholm. And so I'm really excited, and we've been spending time getting to know the communities, getting to know the chambers and the business people, the nonprofits, and just making phone calls, even realtors. I mean, I'm making every day. I have people that recognize my signs and say, hey, I didn't know that you were running out here. And it's just an educational process of letting people know who I am in that area, and that I want to represent them in Austin.
Well, Nikki Watson said that's awesome, and she is the biggest cheerleader I've ever seen in my life. So, Nikki, I am going to be asking for people that want to help Justin in his reelection bid, because he is being supported by TreePack, as well as a realtor champion and somebody that really helps realtor initiatives, which are, by the way, see, she's already doing that. She's like celebration horns and everything else.
I remember you, Nikki.
But those are obviously, being not only a homeowner, but being a practitioner in our business. Some people want to demonize people that are in real estate that get into politics. But I am TreePack chair for the Metro Tex Association, and which feels like going on 9 years, because I've been doing this pre and during and now wherever we are in COVID. But those are so important. These aren't about lining our pockets or doing anything else. It's about protecting individual property owners' rights, making sure people aren't taxed out of their homes, making sure that you have the proper utility to have that autonomy in your home. You've paid for this house, you pay your taxes, all of those things. We're here to try to help protect those things. We did some really neat championing together with the legislators last year, and one of those was the HOA reform. I mean, that was something that I think was a great victory, not only for homeowners, but for realtors, because they can be really tough when we're going through there and trying to do our real estate transactions. And so, Justin, I just wanted to throw that out there. That's not as much for you to comment on, but for our listeners to understand. This is why they say, if real estate is your job, politics is your business. Because these are the decisions that are being made that will change the trajectory of being able to help people obtain homeownership.
Right. Well, the way I look at it, first of all, I'm very proud to have the support of TreePack and to be an active member of not only MetroTex but of Texas Realtors and to be a part of the discussion and Texas realtor issues are Texan issues. I mean,
Yes.
it's not red or blue or Democrat or Republican. People care about their school systems. They care about having roads to get to and from places, and they need mobility for their small businesses. They care about the water coming out of the faucet when they turn it on to get a drink or take a shower, and so infrastructure, roads, transportation, water issues, property tax issues, HOA issues, public schools. These are all things that we care about as realtors, as people in the industry. We face them every day, and
Mhm.
you may not know you're facing it every day, but the questions that we receive from our clients, or if you're dealing with a young couple, maybe you're dealing with them and their parents, or maybe it's somebody trying to move an older an elder parent closer to them so that they can be close to grandkids. People have questions, and ultimately the policy that we make at local, county, and state levels are all realtor issues. And so it's fun to get to work on, and I cannot thank TreePack enough for their support from helping me to get there. I'm a young man, got kids that are young. I'm not independently wealthy, and some of the support that I've received from TreePack is it's not hidden. I've been a beneficiary, a benefactor. The That support helped me get there, and I'll never forget it because um, I get to help people with their Texas dream by making policy that works for them, and it's good. It helps everybody.
Well, again, your newest Rockwall cheerleader, Nikki Watson, said, I created affiliates for TreePack at MetroTex a few years ago, and she's 100% on board. And that is important, Justin, is for these people, Nikki being a newer resident to Rockwall, also being knowledgeable of the benefit of TreePack and being in the real estate industry and what she's dealing with on a daily basis. So we're going to tap her. So Nikki, you've already done this, and I know when you put your name out there, name to something, you're willing to help. So Nikki's going to help you put some signs out, Justin. I can feel it. And so we'll figure that out there. And then Sherry, of course, she's got her things that she wants to chime in. I think it's proud mom, and she also likes to, put her opinion out there, Justin. But city makeup, progress, infrastructure, schools are or should be every homeowner's concern. And I've seen a lot of things going back and forth. There's, you've got people that are running against you in the primary coming up here. And some of those things I've seen in, of course, Facebook groups that are supposed to be private that aren't really private. But, sitting there and saying, well, realtor issues, why do those have anything to deal with me? People automatically think, realtor, I'm trying to make more money. I'm trying to take money out of your pocket, when it's the exact opposite. Because if anybody's doing real estate in this marketplace, we are either a glutton for punishment or we have a passion for true home ownership and creating generational wealth for the people that we serve. And I think that we get a bad rap in our industry that we are just here to make a quick buck. And there are people that want to do that. That's in any industry. But for those just like you, who's been here for, gosh, generations, not only in the community, but in real estate. You've watched your mom, you've watched your uncle, you've watched your dad. It's the same thing for me. I mean, I watched my mom as a teenager get her real estate license because we had a really horrible real estate transaction when we moved to Texas. And my mom's mission was, I'm not going to let this happen again to somebody else if I can help it. And so, having that kind of passion behind it and knowing that's where you come from as well, you are not just the person it's not double dipping. I think you're the sharp sword that can come from both sides of that equation.
Yeah, well, you so eloquently put that. I feel the same way. I mean, I get to go to Austin and be a representative for the people of Rockwall and Collin counties on issues that every day they deal with, and those are and yes, I do have opponents running right now in the primary. I try not to think about that too much because everybody has everybody's entitled to run for office, and
Sure.
that's the the free country that we live in, the system we live in. But I'm the best and most qualified candidate, and I wouldn't be running if I didn't think I was. And so I have the experience to go back for a fourth term, and have been doing some great things over the last three sessions. And so I don't really pay much attention to Facebook groups or even really my opponents. You have to put up with some of it because people ask you questions or whatnot. But I'm running on a record, and I'm running really hard, and I'm running to win. And so I really don't think too much about that. I mean, you have to have, in this business of politics, you have to have thick skin, of course, because you hear a lot of things. But I know what my voting record says, and I know what my system of faith and family values are, and my conservative rankings that I have. And the people of Rockwall and Collin counties are going to vote with their feet on March 1st, and this will be over with pretty soon, and we can get back to preparing for the 88th legislative session.
No, that's fantastic. And you said something before, which was now you've kind of, with the redistricting, if you are elected, you're representing areas that are very similar to Rockwall and Rockwall County. And I was a resident of the Wiley on that kind of Murphy border for nearly 10 years. So seeing the growth there, like I saw in Rockwall, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. So I do want to kind of put that out there as far as for people that want to know more about Justin. He's going to be somebody that potentially will be your new representative if elected. Feel free to put your contact information in the chat or reach out to us privately. You can do that by messaging MetroText, and we can connect you with Justin if you would like to ask questions or just hear more about that. I think both MetroText and Collin County Association of Realtors are trying to put something together as a meet and greet, especially for our realtor members that will be the ones that are also a great recipient of you being the representative if reelected. We want you guys to understand that, this is about longevity. It's not about short-term goals. Like you said, it's long-term goals. You benefited from seeing the people that were in the community and leadership opportunities that have seen what they wanted to see for Rockwall for years ahead. And I know you have that same vision, not only as a realtor, not only as a community member, but, for multiple reasons. So just like we have in there, direct message us, and we'd love to help start that conversation. We'll get you connected. And that's the other thing too, Justin, you are so approachable. I think some people think that you can't directly contact your local representative or something else, but I'm pretty sure you're the opposite. So what do you say about that?
Yeah, I'm a part of this community just like everybody else is. And I think that shocks people sometimes because, I'm a pretty straightforward person, and I am opinionated like you have to be in politics. And, I see people at Tom Thumb or Kroger. I see people at church. We go to Lake Point Church, and I have people that approach me at church all the time and talk about an issue or say hi. And sometimes I get a thanks for what you're doing, which we don't get a whole lot of thanks for what you're doing, but
No.
they're much appreciated when I get them. But I do think that there's a shock sometimes that in the world of social media and technology and the new media that we have, they see those professional headshots or the photo shoots that we do for campaign materials, and they think that I'm some sort of an avatar. And then whenever I'm actually approachable and can talk to them, or if I maybe give them my opinion on something that may be different from what they gave me, that shows a little bit about how real I am. We have the right to disagree on issues, and certainly we don't always agree. But I will say this. About 90% of the time I agree with people, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. We see that in Austin. One of the things that's important to me about Austin and being a part of this, representative democracy in Texas is that we work together. And I am a very conservative Republican, but I have friends that are Democrats too. And we work together. We get things done. We balance a budget. We talk and we deliberate. and we're respectful to each other. And at the end of the day, most of the legislation that gets passed and that we live under the laws of when we go back into our communities after the 5 months that we're there is passed on a bipartisan manner, 130 or 40 to 5 or 10. And so yeah, I'm approachable. I like talking to people. I wouldn't if I wasn't, I wouldn't be in this business if I was a hermit or didn't like to talk to people, and I do it all the time. And if you'd like to ask me a question, then please reach out. I mean, I'm happy to meet new people and talk about the issues, connect you. I have a wonderful staff, and I have a great district director and great campaign staff and a great chief of staff that helps me with casework. And so what happens usually when you come to me with an issue, I listen and take it in, and then you are taken care of by one of my paid staff by the state that does a really good job. So if you ever have a problem where you touch a state agency or have a problem, we can't always fix it. And there's all the fixes are, if we can, aren't quick. One of the good and bad things about the Texas legislature is we only meet every 2 years. So you may have a problem that requires something that can't be done until 2023. You may have a problem that can be fixed by a stern phone call to a department head at a state agency. Those are the things that we can help with. I mean, one of the things that's important, I was asked earlier this morning by the Plano Chamber of Commerce in their candidate interview, what do you think your role as a state representative is? And I said, well, for one, it's to go and represent and vote the way the people in the entirety of the district want me to vote, and the way that I vote by my system of values and beliefs and morals. But to come back when we're done, we make these laws, we got to come back and plug right back into that community.
Yep.
So I do see people out and about. So if you think that I'm going to go do one thing in Austin and come back and act a different way, you just can't do that, because you see the people at church and at the grocery store. Mm-hmm. And so I have to be able to manage the politics and the policy and the serving and the mechanics of how that legislative fast-paced session works, and then come back and then juggle helping people with their casework and their issues and problems with agencies or other items.
Well, one, phenomenal, because I think sometimes we just don't understand. It's real easy to have that guttural reaction when we see something, we want it fixed. It's the instant gratification, the Google generation. I just want an answer now, and I want to see it. And you also deal that from the real estate side. Being not only you are a practitioner, you have your own book of business. You also manage a considerable amount of agents now. This is nothing to sit there and say again that to put you in celebrity status or anything else. I think what it shows is you've created a culture now at Regal in your real estate business, like you're creating the same type of culture in your political business. You guys have seen immense growth here in the past few years. Let's touch a little bit on that, because I think it correlates to both.
Well, I appreciate you asking me, because, I'm passionate about both of my full-time jobs. I'm a passionate state representative, and I'm a passionate real estate broker and owner of a company. This place, you talked about the building being built in the early 90s. And so I was an 11 or 12-year-old kid, probably running around in these halls, and I'll be working in this desk over here, and my 10-year-old and 8-year-old will come in, and it just kind of, the history and the culture, the values, the traditions that we have at this company have really carried it on for 30 years. My business partner, Leighton, and I bought out the previous owners, which were my mother and her business partner, after my father's death. And we had 22 agents in 2014. We just celebrated 8 full years. We're in our 9th year now. And with 22 agents, we took a mom and pop real estate shop that everybody knew of and had and still does have a great reputation. And we turned it into an organization. and a real company. It was a real company, but we had a different vision for it. So some of the things that we did were ask those 20 agents what they loved. I mean, one of the things about Regal that's crazy is we don't have a lot of turnover. Every real estate company has turnover, and of course we have people that come and go, but we have an astounding amount of people that have been here. Each year at Christmas at our awards banquet, we have people stand up and do their years of service. And we have some 10s and 15s and 20s and 25s and 30s that stand up every year. And those are the people, just like those forefathers of our cities that we talked about, that have brought and carried along these core values that we have. So my business partner and I got together with companies in the local area, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, like a Baker Brothers or a Milestone or a Line Media or a whatever. And we just studied what they did. What have you guys done to grow like you've grown? And what are your core values and how did you come up with them? And what are the things that you do to keep your people happy? And what we found were some very consistent things. People run their companies around people, processes, and systems, and they do it by a system of core values and all culture. And if somebody's not fitting with your culture at your company, then they need to go. And we've done that, and that's not hard. That's one of the worst parts about being a business owner. Yes, somebody at your company that doesn't fit in with your culture, they got to go. And so, if you just continue to prune and build around people, don't be afraid to invest in your company. If you're a broker, owner, practitioner, manager, don't be afraid to spend a little bit of money on an idea, on a process, on a new marketing thing. One of our core values is cutting edge. And we always want to be on the cutting edge of what's happening, especially as fast paced as new media, social media, and those types of things are happening. And so, as one of the owners, I run the business, I run the finance side, the back end, and my business partner kind of runs people and some of our lead programs and contracts and compliance and things like that. And so we have it split up into an actual organizational structure. But the part that I deal with, I almost never say no to an idea. I like to have a metric. Are we going to try this for 3 months or 6 months? We're going to try this for a year. We're going to hire this person to do this. And we like hiring from inside the company. There's about 9 of us total on the leadership team now. And we started with just Leighton and I in 2014 in January, of me sitting up here at the office or at my house trying to figure out how to operate the QuickBooks and how are we going to report and do bookkeeping and how do you file a tax return and how do you do a payroll report and what is the Texas Workforce Commission and what are these different, and those things build you up into they make you into a better business person. They build character. And, people is my favorite thing. Profits come later, but people is and should be first. And so proud to announce we just added our 100th agent at Regal as of last week. And so from 22 to 100 in 8 years has been because of our people. It's not because of us.
Well, and I think that's fantastic because, again, you can see the correlation with there's a lot of times that people will say, well, you've done enough. You've served multiple terms and the state legislators with being one. But sometimes it takes time to lay that foundation and get yourself to there. That 100th agent didn't come in year number 2 of you being owner of Regal Realtors. And it's the same thing. I mean, you saw it, you sit there and you realize what it takes to build a profitable real estate business. Now, we've talked about this too on the down low, just because more agents means more problems, not necessarily more money. So for all of you out there, that's a phenomenal accomplishment that you've been able to grow your agent count, because that says a lot about you. Because yes, the turnover rate in real estate firms is huge because most time we're on a silo by ourselves. We feel alone, or our business isn't really doing what we thought it was going to do. So, packing up my crayons and going up to another sandbox is going to alleviate those issues, but that's not the case. And I've watched your growth as a previous Rockwell resident, a previous Rockwell alumni, and now just a just a friend, watching that, I
Sure.
cheer and champion you guys on, because
Thank you.
I think it's amazing what you've done, because to create that
Thank
culture,
you.
to have that community there, and then to be able to take all of that experience and help represent all of your constituents at the state level as well, is absolutely
Thank you.
huge. And just like Sherry said, good for you, Justin, because those are things that we know. We've been there, sitting there. Now, she probably started to sweat a little bit when you said you didn't say no to an idea. That's my job as well. She's the one that's the fiscally a little bit more conservative and says, no, I think we should say no. But no, there's a lot of hard discussions that have to be had, both as a business owner, as a realtor, and also as a state representative. And so I think more so when people want to demonize your experience in the business world, they should be propping you up for having to go through so many of these things, because like I've said time and time again in different Real Talks, we hold the livelihood of the future of people's hands being in real estate. So to translate that into being a state representative, I don't see how people think that's not just a natural path for somebody that is passionate about what they do, passionate about their community. I want to do even more. So here's what I'm going to do. And like Nancy Garcia said, early voting starts on February 14th. Again, our esteemed TREPAC chairwoman. So mark your calendars, guys, because especially in these local races, Justin, you can touch on this. There's a lot of voter apathy, and we really need to hear your voices at the voting.
Well, I can touch on that. And yes, thank you, Nancy, for pointing out. I saw your comment earlier. It does start on the 14th and not just March 1st. We need people to get out and vote. And the turnout in these elections is so small that it's crazy. I mean, we're expecting, it's hard to tell. We have a governor's election with a couple, and we've got an AG race. And so that's going to drive some people to the polls. 20 to 25,000 people in my district, where there's 77 or 75,000 registered voters just in Rockwall County. And I've got 80,000 other residents. So, I mean, there's probably, over 100,000 registered voters, and 25 or 30% will vote. And so a small story on how important it is to vote is in 2016 was my first race. And I also was in a 3-way primary my first time. And I was faced with a good friend of mine and a great man that was the mayor that I served on the city council with. And then I faced a veteran, an Army veteran, and Mayor Pro Tem from the city of Frisco, who is still a friend of mine today. The three of us were running against each other in a 3-way primary, and I won second place in the March primary and was advanced on. In the May 24th of 2016, I think was the day election. It came down to myself and the Frisco City Council member. And at the end of the day, I won by 99 votes. 99 votes.
99.
We just talked about hundreds of thousands of voters and registered voters and turnout. And at the end of the day, after all of the work that we had put in, at the time, my youngest daughter was about 1.5 years old. And so we'd been running for about half her life at that time. And it was over 400 days, the whole campaign, and won by less than 100 votes. It was 29 at one point. The margin got so close I was only up by 29 votes, and then it went up to 99. But all that to say is, when I told people that, some people got white faced, and some people's stomachs, went up in their chest, and they either didn't vote, or they left work and voted, or made a phone call and said, don't forget to go vote for Justin. Because you stay at home and you don't go vote, or you don't tell a few people that it's important for you to vote, then maybe your person loses by 99 votes. And it's really important. But I'm so thankful that in 2016 I won that runoff election, because I've been able to do some incredible things for Texas and some incredible experiences. I've served under 3 different speakers. I've gone through 2 speakers races. I've gotten to serve on some committees that are really, really not only interesting but impactful. I get to sit on the State Budget Appropriations Committee. I'm now the vice chair of the Texas Sunset Advisory Commission, which I'll be doing a lot of work on this next year or this year. I've gotten to work with Homeland Security and Public Safety and take trips to the border of Texas. And I've worked on the Culture, Recreation, and Tourism Committee and dealt with the Texas Parks and Wildlife and the hunting and fishing communities of Texas. And there's just so much, and our state is so vast and complex, and there's a lot to do. And I just love doing it. I'm passionate about it.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, Justin, you're so well-rounded, not only being ingrained in your community where you serve, but being an astute businessman and understanding the needs. And again, I mean, as a owner of a real estate firm myself, listening to my fellow agents and trying to figure out what I need to do as an owner, not for myself, not for self-serving purposes, but what can I do for my agents to help their businesses, to help grow that, to help promote a better culture. Well, gosh, that's the same exact thing. So you've had so much practice doing that with being an owner of a real estate firm and then taking all of those tools. Because I can tell you right now, I think realtors are actually probably worse than your constituents that you serve, because realtors can be brutal to each other. So if you have that thick skin, then you definitely are capable of dealing with the things that you deal with on the other side from serving in the state.
You know, I've had my fair share of discussions with other agents on the other ends of deals, but you know, one of the things that was my dad taught me whenever I got into the business, he sat me down, and in fact, I have up on my desk here an email that he sent me right when I got into the business on some of the tips that he, you know, keys to his success, and one of them was make everybody love you, and don't ever burn any bridges, because you're going to deal with that person again on another deal. And you are going to, and that's not just in real estate. That's in real life. I mean, you know, sometimes we do things that we're not proud of, and I certainly done my fair share of that. But as that gray hair you've talked about, that's come from those 8 to 10-year-old girls, and 15 years in this business, and 6 years in politics at the state level, you try to learn a little bit more every day about how to deal with people and how to make decisions that are based on your system of values. And one of those things is not burning a bridge with those agents, because they will come back to bite you, and you're going to need them. You're going to need their help one day. These markets do turn around, and it's the other way around.
Always. Well, I had that discussion with another realtor that was, we went through the TRLP leadership program, which is actually open right now for any of our realtor affiliate members that are tuning in. And that is actually when I saw you first in action down in Austin, when I was, which is the Texas Realtors Leadership Program. We love our acronyms in the real estate world, just like the political world.
Yes.
So, I remember I was going through the leadership program, Heavyweight 28. I know Nikki Watson is an esteemed alumni as well. But Legacy. See, it was coming. Legacy 23. And we went down, and this was 2018 maybe. But we went down to Austin, and we heard about, what TreePack did, and we heard from our representatives, and you were one of the ones that talked on that stage. And it was an aha moment for so many of us in the realtor industry as to why we need to get involved into politics. And I've always loved politics. In fact, I told my mother that I wanted to be the first female president of the United States when I was in elementary school. I now take that back. So I don't want to do that anymore, but
that's smart.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that one. But I always had a passion for just wanting to lead and wanting to be somebody that was a part of change and good change. And when you spoke it was just so cool to see somebody that I knew from my teenage years, and to see you go on from the real estate profession into the politics as well. I mean, I became a major investor in TreePack right after that. I
Thank
encouraged,
you.
yes, absolutely. I encouraged multiple other of my classmates to become TreePack major investors. I was TreePack vice chair the next year. I was on board of directors. You actually helped me feel confident enough to say, even though I haven't done everything I thought I should at this stage of the game, I want to do so many great things and more. I'm going to put myself out there. And after that leadership program, after that trip in Austin, I applied for the board of directors for MetroTex later in that tenure of the year, and I am now the current secretary treasurer for MetroTex. And
That's great.
Lord willing, I will be president of our almost 26,000 member association here in 2024. And that's what's amazing is, Justin, you helped inspire me. You help inspire your community. You help inspire your agents to not have those self-limiting beliefs. We can do better. And I think that's what is so crucial about what we do. People don't like to get into politics, but you have to. It's where it matters. Nancy said, realtors and affiliates, call your family, your clients, and your offices to get the vote out. Make Texas proud, because like you said, 99 votes was the difference between you and your opponent. You now have more agents than you had votes.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
you should put that on a t-shirt, actually, and I'll get a royalty fee.
You can, yeah.
Yeah, but those are the things that people need to understand.
Well, I like well, first of all, I'm flattered. Thank you and congratulations on your success as well. But not everybody needs to go into politics. There's a role for everybody, and
Yes.
we have some great organizations here locally, like Rockwall County Helping Hands. The national organization Patriot Paws Service Dogs is based out of Rockwall. Everybody has a Meals on Wheels or some sort of senior service meal delivery. There's the CASA, where you can be helping kids, boys and girls clubs. I recommend to all of my agents and everybody that I speak to. I spoke to a group of veteran business owners, about 30 or 40 last night. And I said, pick one thing that you're involved in that's bigger than yourself, because only then will you start to realize that things are bigger than you. And that's kind of how I think everybody, if you are called to the politics arena, it's not for everybody. You have to be kind of a little bit silly and crazy, really, because we put up with some things that I have a lot of friends that say, thanks for doing it, because I would never want to do that. But I have a very supportive wife and 2 kids that I ask them after every session, do you want me to run again? I won't do it if y'all don't want me to. I'm perfectly fine and content being, a daddy and a husband and a business owner. Yeah. And we serve as a family. The 4 of us serve. It's not just me. My mother, who I still work with today, is a huge part of the support system that I have at the office and at home. And she's a great Mimi, and she keeps our kids and helps us when we have, events where Neely and I have to be at, that have to do with either real estate or politics. And, it's fun to give back. It really is. And you need to find that for yourself. It may not be politics. It may be serving in a nonprofit or getting on a board, or maybe starting your own. I heard the other day, and it escapes me where it was, but people at the end of their life, they don't usually say that they regretted not putting themselves out there and doing something. They say, I wish I would have done this, that, and that. And now I don't have the chance. Maybe if they're measuring their days or weeks instead of how many years do I have left, they probably wish when they were our age or even younger, or maybe you're middle age, maybe you're 65 and you still want to do some stuff. Go and do it, because like you said, you don't have to measure yourself against other people. It's you versus you. Yeah.
No, and then that's huge. So two things I want to do because we've got 4 minutes left. So the first thing is touching on just serving in our communities and doing different things. So again, Nikki Watson, who has been one of your biggest cheerleaders on this tonight, her cousin's a state rep for Tennessee, and she makes their family so proud. But what I am proud of is that amazing woman is a huge advocate for her community, and that is widespread. That's not just in geography. And she just started something called the Restart Agency. So everybody look it up, and that is in tandem with Exodus Ministries, which is an amazing nonprofit that helps women that are coming out of, and I might mess it up, Nikki, so you can put it in the chat, but coming out of jail or rehab that have children, and they are put in a program that helps them get back on their feet in an apartment community with a very structured year-long program to get them to where they can still contribute, whether it's with their families out there in the community and everything else. And Nikki has been the benefit of having one of the most amazing life-changing experiences, having a woman come from that Exodus Ministries into her business and catapulting her from a flooring rep. I know she's crying with emojis, a flooring rep to having the most successful staging business in the state of Texas because she took a chance on another woman who in turn changed her life tenfolds. And the Restart Agency is actually a marketing agency that will employ women from Exodus Ministries to help do marketing campaigns, different things. You can look it up on Facebook. They have their own website. But that's what that is all about. And she comes from Metro Tech. Yes, she comes from our leadership program. And that is what it's all about. It might not be in politics. If you're passionate about something, just go and do it. She just doesn't know the word no. She doesn't know the word no, which is absolutely amazing. But I also wanted to touch on the fact of your support system, because that is so huge. As realtors, even when I'm interviewing agents that might come on board, I ask about that, because not even about politics, the realtor business is we have crazy hours and we deal with crazy things. And so I ask, what does your support system look like? Is your spouse, if you're married, are your children okay with this? Because that is going to be the difference in you being successful at your goals, not about the financial gain, but about your goals. And then translating that into what you do, Justin, your wife and your children and your mom and everything else, that's what makes you to be able to be the successful representative for your constituents. And I know that. And my mom, who is my partner, my business owner, we homeschool, and we started that from day one. This wasn't a decision where we took them out or took our daughter out, but she also homeschools my daughter 5 days a week. And I'm afforded that opportunity that my mom is able to do that. And that allows me to pound the pavement on behalf of my clients and do the work I do with Tree Pack and have the ability to do something like this right now, where my husband and my daughter are out at Culver's because that's her favorite restaurant. But because she wants mom to be a mom boss. And so they're okay with being out of the house and me to be able to do the things like this today. But you know what those are called? They're called sacrifices. It's not just support. And I am just
and the whole family sacrifices when you're doing it.
Yes. So you know, I'm going to leave us with this. It's 6:30. We want to be mindful of your time and everybody else's time. But my parting wisdom is going to be, guys, get out there and vote. Like Nancy has told us, early voting, I believe, starts, like she said, February 14th. Is that correct, Justin?
February 14th, Monday, Valentine's Day, February 14th.
Fantastic. And for some of us, we'll be in Austin at the Texas Realtors Conference. So we might not be able to do it then, but your voice matters. And that's really, really important. And if you want to know more about Justin and you want to reach out to him, again, direct message us. I'm so sorry. My AirPods keep on trying to pop out of my ears tonight. I don't have this weird tick that I'm dealing with. But reach out to us directly. And Justin, I also want to give you the opportunity to just leave us with some parting words in regards to your campaign, the community, whatever you want to do. Leave us with something.
Well, I just appreciate your time, you listening. We'd love for you to follow us. Our Facebook page is /JH, the number 4TX, JH4TX. And you can follow me on Twitter at Justin A. Holland. It looks like Justina, but it's not. Justin A. Holland. And Facebook /JH for TX. Reach out to us. If I don't know you and you live in the new part of the HD33, or even if you don't, and you see me out and about, I'd love to meet you. But thank you for allowing me to be on Real Talk. This is great. I'd like to do it again sometime.
Let's do it. Let's get you reelected, and then we can talk about some even cooler things. And we've already started to drop in the chat one of the links, and we'll do the other so people can have those in there as well. But you know what? Because your mother is also a realtor in your business and very kind to your heart, I'm going to leave Sherry's comment as the last one, which is, great job, Justin. We knew you when. Keep making us proud. I couldn't say it better. And I look forward to having you again on Real Talk as the representative of House District 33, the new district.
Yes, thank you.
After getting reelected. So we will talk to you soon, Justin. And of course, make TreePack proud.
Thank you so much, Ashley. And hi to Bill Jordan. I see that on there. Bye.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you soon. Go home to your family.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.